So welcome guys back to another video in the channel. We are doing another episode of Arsenal Transfer News Daily. In the last 24 hours, especially last night, there was a lot of breaking news, including Houssem Aouar. But I can inform you, it's nothing much really. There's not much development within the Houssem Aouar deal, other than the fact that Arsenal have actually put the bid in, but it has been knocked back by Lyon, and their owner, Aulas, Jean-Michel Aulas, has actually spoken, and we'll be looking at what he said. Fabrizio Romano has also given 2 updates in the last 24 hours, so let's get straight into it. Before getting my opinion on all of this, I just want to quickly go over Aulas' statement. And Jean-Michel Aulas said today that transfers Houssem Aouar in agreement with Arsenal. So personal terms, he's saying officially have been agreed. But I reported this 2-3 weeks ago, so I'm not going to put this in the title again. I have said I was one of the first people to say that personal terms are agreed. I knew personal terms were agreed. It hasn't been an issue. Fabrizio Romano has also backed this up. But the main thing that he has said, there will be very few starts for Houssem Aouar. Arsenal is too far from his value. We are counting on him to play a great match in Lyon and lead Olympique Lyonnais in Champions League last year. So he is, going out there saying that he could be playing for Lyon next year. There's a good possibility that that could be the case. Now, Aulas, notoriously, we all know, maybe not all of you know, but he's a very hard guy to deal with in terms of transfers. Dick Law actually did an interview with Charles Watts and Gold. He did actually say, Dick Law actually said, because if you don't know who Dick Law is, he used to be one of our board members at the club, and he said dealing with Aulas for the Lacazette transfer was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, and he said he was very proud of getting that deal done. This situation with Aouar is very similar to the Lacazette one in that, he's their best player. Aouar is their best player at the moment. Lacazette a few years ago was their best player as well. We had to take him off him. A lot of negotiations were needed to reach an agreement. Similar price as well, towards £50 million or so. And, reports also suggesting today that Lyon might reduce their price as well. Julien Lorenz also said he ain't the most reliable in the world. But again, he is considered to be top 2, top 1 source. And he is verified, so we can't really be, I'm not one to be saying that that's fake or anything, but he's suggesting that their price could be reduced to around £45 million, which I think could be the case. We could do some sort of deal where we add quite a bit of add-ons on and give a bit less up front to what Lyon wants, and I think that will be the case within the end. But he did say that Lyon could be dropping their price. But again, it's Aulas. Whatever price he says, they're going to stick to it, and at the moment it does look like €60 million. We will go on to what Fabrizio Romano said before I give my own opinions and thoughts about this. So let me just bring up Fabrizio Romano and what he said. So he's saying that today's sentences by President Aulas confirm the situation about Aouar. Nothing has changed now or yesterday. This is what I'm trying to say to you guys. Don't get too hyped, and nothing has changed. He's the first target. Aouar would like to join AFC. Personal terms not an issue. No agreement. He said no in capital letters. Agreement with Olympique Lyonnais at the moment. Deal still on, but Aulas wants €60 million, and when Aulas wants a price, he will stick to it. And I think that's the main talking point we are going to be we need to address, because all good putting in a bid of £35 million. We bid 31 plus Guendouzi. What makes you think they're going to accept 35? Yes, I know they've put a bid in, so they've started negotiations. That is very good, but we've been negotiating with them ever since we put the deal in for Guendouzi, so I don't think there's anything new in that respect. There were reports of talks being in a concrete phase. That's what Telefo Shan said, but Aulas has basically thrown that all into the water by saying there's been very few starts in terms of the negotiation phase. So I do think this will ramp up in the next few days if Arsenal are really serious for him, because I think even they will know £35 million won't be enough to get Aouar. Obviously it's just a starting phase. There might be more bids coming in. Maybe Arsenal really will pay the money, but they're just trying to play with Aulas. In my opinion, there's no point toying with Aulas. He's going to stick to what he wants. But the key thing that has changed between now and Lacazette's situation, where we signed him in, January 2018, 17? What was it again? I can't even remember. 2017, I think, in the summer of 2017. And the difference is now we've got Edu, and he is very good friends with Juninho, who is their sporting director, who deals with most of the transfers. And I think that could be very key to getting this deal done and trying to reach an agreement between the two clubs. Maybe they come into the middle and agree on a transfer upon that. But I think this will be a very interesting one to see over the next few days how it develops. A lot of people saying a deal could be agreed before the Liverpool game. I think that's not going to happen. We've still got 9 odd days left, but we have to do sell quite a few players to fit the homegrown ratio. We'll be talking about Lucas Torreira in a bit, as Torino's chief has given an update on that situation. Fabrizio Romano has spoken on that as well, so we'll get into that as well in a bit. But just to conclude on this Houssem Aouar segment, you know, there's nothing new really. This is our second bid for Aouar. It's turned down. You know, Aulas wants 60 million euros. Romano's just said that. And yeah, there's nothing really new other than the fact that Arsenal have actually put a bid in and it has been rejected. Next bit of news is on Lucas Torreira. A lot of yo-yoing on this situation because it looked like he was going to go to Fiorentina, and then Torino come in and said an upfront bid was put in, but that has basically been slammed out the water with this Fabrizio Romano update. And literally, it's like, what's going on with him? And Atletico Madrid, Diego Simeone calling him. What is actually going on with Lucas Torreira? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. But let's have a look at his update. Fabrizio Romano said around 3 hours ago, since recording, he said that Torino sport director Vagnati confirms that Arsenal are not accepting to loan out Torreira at the moment. Torreira is a top player, but his price is too high. It's just difficult to sign him from Arsenal, not just for us. Also, Atleti want him on loan. AFC asked for permanent deal. So what I think of it is, at the moment, is that Fiorentina asked for a loan, Torino asking for a loan, Atleti asking for a loan. No one wants to buy him up front, which I guess, fair enough. I don't know, you know, other clubs, they manage to get permanent deals for their players, but it's always Arsenal that manage not to. I don't know why this is. Arsenal have always had an insistence to have a permanent deal, but apparently reports were coming out a few weeks ago that Torino were willing to pay up front. But again, their sporting director has just literally blown that out of the water by suggesting that they want to loan him. Maybe there could be an obligation to buy. That's something Fiorentina were looking at. I think if it gets too late, Arsenal might just have to take one of their offers and say, look, you can loan him, but you have to buy him at the end of it because we want our money's worth for Lucas Torreira. So it's going to be very interesting how that happens. Fiorentina obviously offered around 8 million up front, and then they gave another 18 odd next year as an obligation to buy. It's like, will we get rid of Torreira? We need to fit the homegrown quota. We can't have certain non-homegrown players, and I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm sure you guys will, but we have to get rid of players to buy more players, and apparently money shouldn't be an issue in that respect. And there's only update on Party. In terms of a Party Torreira sub, that is basically out of the water. I did explain this the other day. If you want to watch that, please go check that on my channel. The fact that, you know, if it's a release clause, Atleti don't have to give money to government in that deal. So that's why they want the release clause paid in full, the 50 million euros. And with Lucas Torreira now, again, where will he end up? How much for will he end up? Will he go or will he not go? Because I can't see a situation where we can keep both Guendouzi and Torreira, include Ozil into that as well. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. But the breaking news is Lucas Torreira, Torino, who have been very interested in him, their sporting director Vagnati says that Arsenal are not accepting to loan out Torreira. Torreira is a top player, but his price is too high. It's just difficult to sign him from Arsenal, not just for us. So basically, he's blowing the Torreira stories out of the water. But yeah, there's the news of Lucas Torreira that only clubs that are interested want to loan him. For the last bit of news, we'll be looking at Mikel Arteta's press conference. When we don't have loads to talk about, I'd just like to have a quick look at his press conference, see if there's any interesting going on in there. And first question was on whether having no fans in the ground at Anfield will help Arsenal. I think obviously the crowd makes them stronger because it's a unique atmosphere they're able to create at Anfield. As well, you're able to see how they are playing without any crowds as well. So we know the challenge ahead of us. Let's embrace it. Let's go for it. Prepare well and try to go there and win. On how much confidence, and the next question was how much confidence we take from our last two performances against Liverpool. He said they're very different games. The one we played at the Emirates, the one we played the final, were very different. I think again in Monday it's going to be different. Obviously it's going to be different. Come on, what are these questions being asked? Obviously it's going to be different when you're playing at Anfield. Arteta goes on to say, we know the standards that they've set in the league, how consistent they've been because they dominate every aspect of the game. So we need to be at our best. We need to compete really well against this team, and hopefully the boys are able to do that on Monday. He says on how the game will be different. He says they're really different, the one at the Emirates and the one we played in the final against them. They have some variability depending on what they do. We have to control those aspects, how we can attack in different ways as well. It's like quick waves all the time with them without much time to breathe. It's really a quick game. It doesn't see long sequences or passes against them. We have to be at our best, that's for sure. Also, he said he was asked on what he has been working on with the team since the West Ham a game. He said, obviously I'm not going to discuss that. What kind of question is that? Why is he going to review that? What are these guys being paid for? I don't even know. But he said, but we've had time to work and try to prepare better, but every game brings different challenges, and in this league every opponent causes you issues you have to resolve. We are evolving and we are getting much better, and on Wednesday already we did a lot of things much better in the same aspects, so we need to keep improving. And he was asked on the latest of Lucas Torreira. He said, no, we don't have any updates on Lucas or any other player at the moment. He was also asked on Jorginho. He says that we are open to improve our team. We are looking for different options depending on what happens with some of our players, so we are just getting prepared just in case we need to do something. He says in what potential qualities he sees in Jorginho. He said that, sorry, I cannot talk about players playing for a different team. Their qualities is not appropriate for my side. But oh my god, look, so many times in the past Arteta's been asked about players, even Aouar in Party, and he's just said, I'm not going to discuss players from other clubs. Why do they keep getting asked that? Arteta, why is Arteta always asked that? I don't get it. But yeah, he was asked on how hard is facing the same opponent twice in a week. To be fair, again, that's not the greatest question either. You know, they're going to be two different Liverpool teams. And he said that obviously has a big impact. And when you talk about Liverpool, challenges much bigger, but we're going to focus on Monday and the best possible preparation. And more importantly, you know, he was asked on the fan stadium. He's talked about Eddie Nketiah, again, England call-up. What kind of question is that? And he's asked about Liverpool's weaknesses. I don't know why he's been asked about weaknesses, but he's just saying that they're a fantastic side. Yeah. And he was asked about Thiago for some reason. He said we don't discuss things that we try to do in the market. And whether he admires Thiago, he said that a lot because obviously from Barcelona. And yeah, on Pepe, he was asked that, you know, he has to adapt to a different league. It's a different style. He's a player with a good attitude. He develops in a lot of phases of his game. He's very settled. He's liked by the boys and basically things like that. And he's asked on helping Gabriel and vice versa. He says it's good to have compatriots in that. And he's asked on William's big game experience. Well, I don't know why he's been asked about that, but whatever. And basically that is it with Arteta's press conference. My reaction is a lot of stupid questions asked, but I think it does look like he's going to try and go with the same tactic he has done in the last two games. I think Klopp will be very wary of that, and I think he will try and suppress that as much as possible. You can check out my preview to this in my channel, so go check that out. It's my last video, I believe. So yeah, that is it for today's Arsenal Transfer News Daily. Big news on Houssem Aouar's bid has been rejected. Aulas has given an ultimatum, and Torreira, the Torino Chiefs, probably the most interesting club, and Lucas Torreira have said that, you know, they probably won't be signing him this summer. And also Mikel Arteta's press conference reaction and what he actually said. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.